The world is watching Tennessee. The world is watching Tennessee. Because what is happening here today is a farce of democracy. What is happening here today is a situation in which the jury has already publicly announced the verdict. Just yesterday, the House Speaker took to national news to condemn us and call for our expulsion before any evidence was presented, before any trial happened.
We spoke up for gun control and the end of gun violence. We're here today. We're being sought to be expelled from the People's House, for speaking up about the need for gun control because we broke some House rules.
We all saw what happened yesterday. Two extremely intelligent, eloquent, community-centered black men were removed from the House of Representatives. That is not something that should be taken lightly. For 5 seconds of disruption before the Speaker called for recess, these members were expelled. And they literally had to fight on that floor for their political health and for their careers. You know, my colleagues across the aisle, they know this is wrong. The text messages I've received, the private moments that they have said, you know, this is not what we should be doing. Yet they did it. The definition of courage is the ability to do what's right, even when it's hard. And there was no courage yesterday from my colleagues across the aisle.
The optics, the world saw the optics. I don't have to say a word about the fact that our two young African-American brothers were unfairly prosecuted, information, evidence introduced inappropriately, but they handled themselves like true champions. They answered every question. Every person that interrogated them were lawyers on the other side. To me, it's a horrific indictment on the Tennessee GOP, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And the fact that they continue to keep their foot on the accelerator when they knew the world was watching really just shows what this Republican Party has sunk to. New lows.
Yesterday, it looked like a Jim Crow era trial where we saw two black men fighting for their careers, fighting for their reputations, fighting for their political lives. The scene was so disheartening as we were walking, specifically when we were walking Representative Jones out of the chamber. Many of us were fighting back tears. And when we went back into the chamber, many of our tears broke. And it was a shame to see some of the smirks, some of the smiles that some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle had as they saw our tears.
Can't have those voices in that room challenging notions about who should say what and when and where. Let's expel them. Can you imagine? Let's get rid of them entirely. Let's remove them not only for that moment, but remove these people who have been elected to represent the people. And let us decide who should represent the people. What is that? That is not a democracy. That is not a democracy.